Start.
What's going on, New Game in Order? We back like you know who, hitting you with the head crush. New Game in Order, and we are hitting you with the next topic, which is the lack of AAA titles in this console generation. Now, apparently, I was listening to several YouTubers, like you got the Red Dragon and Review Tech USA, and I was even reading an article that is in the chat where it's just now gaming or the industry it has become so expensive to develop things that it's starting to pretty much choke out these companies. Konami is probably one of the major casualties, Capcom. But then again, with the way that the cost to develop games at like the Metal Gear level, that saga, or making things like Lost Odyssey or Final Fantasy series, you know what I mean? I was even saying, hey, what happened to all those epic RPGs? Like, what happened to that? And now it kind of, with the article that I put from Polygon, it's like it's interesting that these companies are getting pinched, and I even think that this is a ripple effect from like the economy getting jacked up because they're trying to survive by charging the consumers more, and then the consumers don't have enough to pay for more, and then guess what? Just like a plant, it withers and dies. So now I'm looking at it from a standpoint that will we see like indie games become the standard? Or are we gonna be in that generation like, hey, I remember back in the day when you had games like that were like movies or Gears of War like, and so on and so forth. Where do we see AAA titles going forward into this generation? So I wanted to give Khalif the floor first and your thoughts on that, and it's like, what's happening with the industry?
Well, I mean, if you ask me, I don't see anything that's really changed. I mean, AAAs are still coming out as, good ones anyway, are still coming out as often as, well, I guess that's really dependent on your opinion. But I mean, games still seem to come out the same way to me. With the whole AAA versus indie thing, I get so sick of hearing it because it's like, if a game is good, a game is good. Whether it be AAA, whether it be indie, like, who cares? If there's a good game out there, I'm gonna try to play it. Whether it be a big, huge developer or a one-man team. So
Now,
I
you know what?
seen,
Like with that, it's like, okay, there were games like Onimusha. You had Dino Crisis. You had a lot of these games that were like.
Yeah, what channel was ABC?
right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought that I heard somebody, but yeah, it's like it used to be more of them. I mean, yeah, it probably didn't seem like it changed much, but when you look at the quantity of how many AAA titles are coming out and how many are getting delayed, like Quantum Break, Uncharted, things like that, you don't see them coming out as quickly as they used to. And that's the one thing that I have noticed. And the companies like EA, yeah, you know what? Now playing devil's advocate, when you stop and look, it's like, damn, the companies are just trying to stay afloat. Now,
Well, I mean, on the flip side of that, like, doesn't it piss people off like when you get a AAA game and it's not what you expect it to be? You know what I mean? Why you like the order? Like I didn't have a problem with Watch Dogs, but Watch Dogs, like those type of games where they get hyped and they're quote unquote AAA games, and they come out and they're either broken, they're not what they're expected to be,
Assassin's
or
Creed.
stuff like that. I mean, like I said, to each his own. Whatever you feel like, whatever anybody feels like is a AAA game or a hype game, when it comes out, it may not, really please everybody.
Yeah.
So, when you try to make these big AAA games, I mean, of course they're going to be few and far between because they want to make them bigger and better, and they, of course, we know they cost so much to make.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
the
like I
risk
said,
factor involved, like if that game doesn't sell, this company may tank.
right?
So all right. Well, for the sake of time, I wanted to move on to On Your Knees. What are your thoughts about, the changing landscape with AAA titles?
How much time do we have?
Yeah,
I'm trying to keep it like 5 minutes.
Well, this is a multifaceted issue. There's quite a few things. You were hinting at it, but you didn't outright say it. There's a lot fewer B budget games coming out. You know, like your Onimushis, your Vagrant Stories. You know, the games that aren't top tier, but they hit their niche market and they do it well. You know, our old school Resident Evil. Resident Evil used to be a B budget game until it hit, and then it graduated to AAA.
And Capcom went away from what made Resident Evil Resident Evil.
Yeah, they made it.
Turned it into Resident Evil of War.
Resident Evil 4 did so good on GameCube. That's why they went with that formula, and it didn't work so well in the next two installments.
Yeah.
So it's a matter, that's part of it. They throw all their eggs in one basket. And then I know I mentioned this before, but I'll go back for my next example. The marketing budgets are just poorly managed and they're too massive. When a game like the new Tomb Raider could sell 5 million units in a month and still lose money because half your budget's marketing. It was like a 300... I forget if the marketing budget was 300 million or the total budget was 300 million.
But here's the thing: what's the marketing? Like, what are they advertising when you don't see as many commercials?
They pissed away at least $150 million.
Doing what? I want to see their budget expenses, man. Like,
yeah, it's probably they spend a lot more on TV than they should do. They should be focusing on internet advertising. And you know what? Getting your games out. YouTube wasn't. The Let's Plays wasn't that big because what Tomb Raider was 2 years ago now. YouTubers are only just starting to come into it. So, but get your shit on YouTube. You can give your games for free, and it's only $60 a hit, or even
give
less
it
than
to
that.
podcast shows like us, and we'll advertise for you. Shit,
I know. You just got to be willing to take a hit, but that goes to another thing where these the teams involved in the games, they're churning these things out like it's a. They're churning out like it's mass-produced stuff. They have too many people working on these games. They have no heart and soul putting into it. They're just there for a job. Especially, you mentioned it earlier with EA. It's a horrible place to work for. You read stories from people who work there. It's fucking awful. 100-hour weeks, especially during crunch time. Crunch time can last months.
100-hour weeks,
100 hours.
unbelievable. What the heck? No, that's slave labor.
Yeah, and there's ways to get around that shit, but that's what goes on in these places. There's no heart. These people don't put their heart and souls into it, and they have like 20 guys working on a single I think it was what game? There's an indie game I think by a European developer, Medieval, or something like that, where it's supposed to be like an open world kind of Grand Theft Auto thing, but it's in medieval times. And they're talking about here's what I'm doing. I'm working on this crate at a AAA game. There'll be like 10 people working on just that box, doing textures. One does the general design. They're putting too many people into it, and they're always going for the lowest bidder too. There's numerous issues to this, but they're treating it like a business instead of something like they want to do. And I'm losing my topic here, losing my focus, but
it's a lot to cover. I mean,
there's a lot of shit going on with this, and they just that's why you're going to see the rise of the indies. Indie games, they put their heart and souls into it, and you get like ridiculous. You get these games where they actually want to make these games, and they're not AAA games, obviously, but you spend a few bucks, you get a good game that'll give you 20 hours of entertainment. Yeah, and the game's being too short, like with the Order. I think that was a 3-hour game, wasn't it?
Yeah, you give or take. With 5 hours with cutscenes and all this other stuff, but actual gameplay.
Yeah. So who wants a refund on that? Oh wait, the game's just an hour too long.
Yeah, that's the Sony exclusive, but it's what it is. But for the sake of time, Takuma, did you get to go yet?
No, man. You know what? I want my B games to come back to AAA, man. What Onimusha at? Bring that back. I miss playing games like that.
Capcom is going to be going on a remastering blitz. I'm just letting y'all know that right now. So you may see Onimusha again. So you never know. Power Stone might come back.
Bring back Mega Man. People miss playing
Look.
You can pre-order Mighty Number 9 now on Steam if you wanted to know.
Okay, yes. Let's leave the Mega Man thing alone. Capcom is not going back there. But, as far as the topic is concerned, okay, what's going to happen? I'm scared. I like AAA games. Games like Metal Gear really made me, love the fact that, hey, they put so much time and effort and craft into that.
On that topic, I don't put you off on that. But, games like Metal Gear Solid, if you want to put it in like real world, them games made you really think about, oh, you know what's really around me? Hey, can I really like blend in to having somebody? You know, just little stuff that they get in games like that make you realize, like, you know what, life situations can be somewhat similar to this. I mean, I ain't going out shooting nobody, snapping on rifles or something like that, or, you know, walking up to somebody like, hey, freeze, and, you know, shaking them for dog tags like that. But games like that put a perspective on you as a gamer and also in life. It makes you think. It makes it.
The quality shows. It's so realistic, so to speak.
It's games that, you know, people can relate to. All right, I'm not saying the violence. Please don't go out there and shoot nobody, and, you know, walk up and have somebody, and, you know, deal with the surroundings and everything else. But games like that make gamers like really like think and use their quality, and, you know, it heightens the senses, so to speak. So games like that really put a good perspective on gamers. So bring those back.
Okay. All right, and then NYC Playboy, what are your thoughts on what's happening with the landscape of AAA titles?
Well, yeah, these so-called AAA titles. The order was a prime example because I own a PlayStation 4. I never played it. Maybe only for Injustice. So I was waiting for the order to come out. That looked good to me. Then it was delayed, and I said, oh well. Then it went on the back burner. Then it finally came out. I said, oh, let me go and get it. Then I went on IGN and went on Reddit. People were like, no, don't get it. It's horrible. Worst thing ever. I'm like, why? It's like only 20 minutes. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, they were going extreme on that, you know.
Yeah, they was going ham on it, man. Then I looked into it, and I said, yeah, you only can do this. I'm like, wait, that's not cool. And also games like on the PC side, games like the Van Helsing series, which is just utter garbage. You know, I was sucking into that one time, thank God, but still, you know, they keep cranking out, you know, the Van Helsing series, you know. Now they're up to 3 of them. And I'm like, oh my God, they're making enough money for you to crank out these games. But yeah, that's what it is, you know. And plus, you know, to make these so-called AAA games, it's like a movie budget. You know, $300 million. Really? What's
But in that respect, though, potentially what the video game industry pulls in is more than what the movie industry pulls in. So it's kind of like fitting to say the least. You know, it's like, yeah, you know what? They're putting out more. They're making more. You know, so yeah, I can see why that's the case. But man, it's crazy. Like, I don't even know what to say with that. It's just disappointing to see that it's going to change the landscape.
It's taking so long for them to crank out these games. I mean, it's taking like you know maybe 2 years at a minimum to crank them out. You know. And people don't have that sort of time, you know.
Yeah. Okay, and Khalif, you were about to say something?
I think we're spoiled, man. Gamers, we're so spoiled these days, you know, because we get a game and we run through it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks at the most, and we're on to the next thing, and we're like, where's the next one? AAA games,
but that's also because of the game's length. Like, because you got a lot more quality, but they shorten. A lot of games have been suffering from that, and we as gamers,
I can only think of 2 games that suffered through that, and The Order definitely is one. And the other one that I don't agree with was Ground Zeroes. Like, people said that Ground Zeroes was 2 hours long. Bullshit. To Ground Zeroes, I still haven't 100% it. So, I mean, it's just all how you play it. If you just go through and you just want to do the bare bones and play it, then yeah, you're only going to get, so many hours out of it.
But then you got to blame the speedrunners. Blame them too. Like, that's their sole purpose, to come and break a world record and destroy it, you know?
Well, yeah, I'm not placing blame on anybody. I just think that, when it comes to these big budget games that we're talking about, I mean, I can get the B grade games that we're talking about, the Omnimushas, those type of games. I get that, but that I put that in a separate category than AAAs. When I think AAAs, I'm thinking about the Halos, I'm thinking about the Call of Duties, I'm thinking about the Orders, and those big games that were hyped and people were actually looking for. I mean, of course, it's going to take a while for those type of games to come out, and as we've already seen, those games aren't always going to gonna do what we think they're gonna do. Watch Dogs is the prime example for that. You know.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that.
It was one of those games that was hyped to be so big. It was like this is next gen, and it came out and people like shit on it, and I mean it didn't bother me too much. I mean I played it and beat it, and that was it. I didn't think of anything more of it, but you beat that game and then you're on to the next one. There was a little bit of multiplayer in it, and so you could have got more time out of it, but the whole thing is that with these AAA games, we're not going to get them like all the time, back to back to back.
I get that. Naturally, it's going to slow down with the type of technology that's coming out, the quality, like Quantum Break. I understand why it got delayed because what the physics that they are promising. Yeah. Like walking through glass, they showed like a scene from one of the E3s where they showed that you could stop time and actually, that's
if they release that game, and that mechanic doesn't work, then we're gonna cut their heads off, right? So we gotta give them time. Like I said, when it comes to AAAs and indies, I pretty much blended it all together. Now I don't even care. Like if a game looks good, whatever that game may be. Whether it be a AAA game or an indie game, if it looks good, I'm going to try to play it. And, no matter how long it is, I mean, I'd rather play a nice, short, good, great game than play a long, drawn-out, mediocre game. It's not even crappy, just mediocre. You know what I'm saying? So.
Okay. Now, for time, Nelson, you got the floor. What are your thoughts on the landscape of AAA titles?
Well, again, it's depending on the company. So far, Square Enix is one of the last striving companies to take their time with a game, along with Rocksteady and Rockstar. Now, the fact that I read a couple of people's comments, and I'm having like a Halo debate right now in chat.
Yeah,
so don't mind me, but a lot of these AAA titles now, since they know that they can't just remake the good old glory days where they was like full complete titles. This is the era of the remasters. Bring back games that were already been good. And just make it 720p and 60 frames per second. Oh my god, we stumbled upon a fucking idea. Now the whole goddamn gaming world is making remasters. I mean, shit, they just announced the fucking Uncharted remasters for 1, 2, and 3 for PS4.
What?
Yep,
just announced it.
Unbelievable.
Bro, you have no idea how many
people
are pissed. People are pissed about that, too, because it doesn't have multiplayer.
Yep.
People are pissed.
No, I tell you what, put this shit on PC, I may actually buy it.
Yeah, Uncharted is good though.
It's one of those games I want to. No, if they put the remasters on multiple consoles, that might be a good thing. But they're not going to do it. They're going to keep.
They're not going to do that.
And here you go, Alex.
Not gonna do
that. Unbelievable.
But again, it's hard.
Wow.
It's hard nowadays with the companies meeting quota every single time, so they have to hurry up and rush things out. They don't even know if the game's going to be a AAA title.
And you know what the problem is? It's those investors who are being greedy schmucks who are just like, I want a turn on my investment, and they're not gamers and they don't understand. I'd rather them have investors who are gamers who understand, like, hey, you can't rush a good thing.
Right.
You know what I mean, don't mess it up. Don't mess it up.
Games that come out of nowhere are usually the best games. Like last year, Shadow of Mordor I don't think that was considered a AAA game. But when it came out,
it was considered AAA, but no one really expected too much of it. I think is what it was.
Hell, I was like, damn, that game is
nowhere. Dope. It came out of nowhere, and it made a big splash. And now that Nemesis system, I guarantee you, will be used in way more games, just because of how revolutionary it was. So I mean, it's that type of thing that kind of happens. You might be looking for. Well, like I'm looking for the new, Metal Gear and whatever, and we're all anticipating E3. We're looking for all these games that we know are coming, but I'm willing to guarantee that there's going to be a game or a couple games that they're going to announce that we didn't see coming, and it's going to be the new talk of the town. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now with that, Nelson, do you want to wrap up since it's still your turn?
Well, just basically. AAAs will either come out when they feel like it randomly, or when the company actually deserves to have the opportunity to take their time with it. But no company is doing that again, except for Square Enix, Rocksteady, and Rockstar. There's a few other indie companies that are taking their time. with their games. I know Bungie took their time making Destiny, but again, it was partly rushed. And it got fast forward within a year's time because they fired the lead writer for the lore of Destiny. That's why they made him some fucking cue cards that you gotta read them online. But anyways, it's depending on the game. And that's why a lot of people have short attention spans now and they play nothing but mobile games.
ADD society. And that's why Konami is like, hey, you know what? F the AAA titles, we're just going mobile. Because that's where they feel the money is going to be.
Well, sell your IPs, Konami, and then we'll leave you alone.
Which, you know what, that's probably going to lead into the next topic, so we'll break that up, and that's going to be this Silent Hill rumor purchase. And there were some numbers in reference to that made me like, what the hell, really? So I don't think Microsoft's gonna do it. It's going to be just way too much. But with that, New Game in Order, we're going to bring this segment to an end, and this wasn't even supposed to be a topic, but I saw an article that made me like just loosely bring this up. So leave your comments below. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on newgamingorder.com. Check out our past segments and the next segment, which is going to be the Silent Hills and acquisitions from Konami that Nelson was electing to. So for our YouTube folks, we'll see you in the next segment. Peace.